Hello again. So I had to pause for a second there to get something out of my eye and to figure something out in my environment. But I think I got it figured out, so I think we're okay. I'm back to this shell environment now that's in here. Let me make sure I'm using the right terminology. Terminal environment, where I'm running a bash shell. But in this terminal, I was able to install, I had to adjust something about my environment. But now I'm able to install Pillow. And it should work this way. You probably won't have to make that adjustment like I did to your environment. It's just that I have multiple Pythons running on this computer, and I think this terminal was getting confused about which Python should take over for this. So I think I cleared that. Hopefully I didn't cause any other problems, but at least for now this seems to be working okay. So now I have this in here. So this is a terminal environment, and this is a different way of looking at the files and folders on my computer. Just like this is a way of looking at files and folders on my computer, and just like this is a way of looking at files and folders on my computer. These are all actually, these two are the same place. I'm looking at just this folder called Glitchtoberfest, which has this file called original.jpg. In this case, though, I need to figure out where I am. I'm going to show you a few simple commands you can use in a terminal to help you figure out where you are and move around inside of the terminal, and these are important. This isn't important in a way that's specific to pixel sorting or using this script. This is just general using a terminal, finding your way around. So the basic command to figure out where am I in a terminal is pwd. So I type pwd, I'm in users/Zach Whalen. That's my top level folder. To figure out what's in this folder, I type ls. ls stands for list. And I can see quite a lot of things in here. Most of these things I don't need. So I want to move from the top level into my desktop and into this folder called Glitchtoberfest. So to move into a different folder, you type cd for change directory, and then you type the name of the directory you're trying to get to. So cd, I'm going to start typing de, and then hit tab, and it should autocomplete. So it's going to take me to my desktop. And if I go to my desktop, hit enter to go to my desktop. Now type ls, and I should see down below a list of the files that are here. All right, great. So these are the files that I was working with earlier, including my glitch work and my Glitchtoberfest files, folders. So to move into these, I can type the name of the one I want to move into. cd glitch. There's several that start with glitch, so I'll start here, Glitchtoberfest, and then when I hit tab, it automatically completed that file name down to the end. And so I'm now in this folder, and if I type ls, I should see that file that I expected, original.jpg. So pwd, again, shows me where I am. The full path is users/Zach Whalen/desktop/Glitchtoberfest. That's where I am. Now with the terminals, this window, terminal window this large, by the way, sometimes it is useful to reset this back to the top and get rid of all this extra stuff. You can do that by typing the word clear, and then it takes you back to the top. But sometimes you need to kind of reorient where you are. Another useful trick, by the way, not trick, but just thing that you need to know when you're working with a terminal, sometimes you get lost, and there are a couple ways you can find your way back. If you want to move up a directory, you can use this notation. So I'm going to cd, and I don't have to know the name of the directory above where I am right now. I can just type 2 dots and a /, and that's going to take me up a directory. So in this case, if you notice, I'm currently in Glitchtoberfest, so the place that's going to take me next is desktop if I go up a directory level into the desktop. So if I do that, and then type pwd again, you'll see now I'm on desktop, and that's, that makes sense. Another thing you can do is you can type cd and then a tilde character, and that'll always take you to your home directory. So if you do cd tilde and then you type pwd, you can see I'm back at my home at users/Zach Whalen. Okay, so that's just a basic kind of getting around, moving around in the terminal. So let me move to the specific place I want to be, which is my desktop, and that particular folder called Glitchtoberfest, and the original.jpg. That's the file I'm going to be working on, and I'm going to need to put some other stuff in here to do the pixel sorting. So let me find Chrome again. So this is a Python script. I'm not going to be using this script. I am going to be using this script, but I don't need to write code to address it directly. I just need to call it up in the terminal and then tell it to do some stuff, and then hopefully it does the thing that I wanted it to do. So to get it on my computer, I just need to download it or clone it, I guess, but downloading is a bit easier. Download the zip here, and then it should ask me where to put it. Great. So I'm just going to put this zip file in the same folder I'm working on, the Glitchtoberfest folder, and work with it there. Okay, so it's pixelsortmaster.zip. I'm going to double click to just unzip that automatically. And since I don't need this zip file anymore, I'm just going to delete it for the sake of not being confusing. And then I'm going to go ahead and rename this pixel sort just to make it shorter for me to type it as I need to in the terminal. So if I double click in the folder, I should see here all of the files that were listed here in the repository. So all the things that Satyarth made that make this program work. Some of these things are stored in extra files. So all of those files now have come here in case they're useful. And I haven't really looked into it that much to see what parts actually get used and when, but I'm just following the instructions, going with what he says to do. Okay, so to use it, he gives us some basic things here. This line here is showing you how to use it. So Python 3 pixelsort.py, and then a path to the image, and then any options here. So let's unpack this a little bit. So Python 3, the first part of this command is going to invoke Python. He says it should also work with Python 2, and that seems to be the environment I'm working with, so hopefully that's the case. We'll find out. Then you invoke Python, and then you tell Python to run this script, pixelsort.py, so that'll be the next thing that happens. And then the path to the image is just directions for where to find the image that you want pixelsort.py to actually work on. And then there's any options that you want to apply to it. There's a whole bunch of different options here, so part of working with the script is kind of exploring the different options, and that's really where the fun happens. But let's just make sure that in a basic example it actually works. So in our terminal we need to check a few things. Just ls, we can see that pixel sort is here now as, let me get out of the way, there is pixel sort now as a folder that's available. So if I cd down into that folder, I can see that all those files here are red, meaning that they can work, that they're executable files. And I can hopefully run it. Let's see. So he said just do Python and then a space. And then if I just do the word Python, that should be Python 2. So we'll see. And then the pixelsort.py. And then the path to the image. The path to the image is the directions, like the roadmap from where you are to where the image is. And in this case, the image is a level above where I am right now. So if you remember the .. / that works in this context as well to say, look for this file at one level above where we currently are. It's a relative path. So if I go .. / original.jpg, it's going to go find that image up there. So I'm just going to try this without any options and see what happens. And it does seem to be working. It's going to report what it's doing, and then, oh yeah, it's done. It's going to report when it's done. So unless you tell it otherwise, the default is going to be it's going to make an image file just with a random name, and this one is piwis.png. And it sticks it inside of the same folder where pixelsort.py lives. So there it is. Let's see how it looks. Oh, nice. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised. That's already pretty good without changing anything. So let's compare it to the original just to see what it did. And you can see mainly there's these trees. I feel like these are aspen trees. I feel like this is Pacific Northwest maybe, or Canada. I don't know, but it mainly took those and really streaked them over to the right. That's interesting. I like that look a lot. Okay, so let me do one more adjustment to my workflow here to make it a bit easier to find these images when they're produced. So one of the options, there's lots of options here obviously, but one of the options is the output file. So this is going to ask, me where to put this file when it's done, instead of coming up with a random name. So I want to make this go not in the pixel sort folder along with all those other Python scripts. I wanted this to go just in the level above it. So I'm going to give it a O option here. I want to say, and you give it these options by typing the flag first, so in this case the -O, and then you give it the value that you want it to understand for the output file. You want to set the value. So this is like setting a name and a value pair. So it's -O, and I'm going to say // I'm just going to call it out.png, just as a very basic in and out kind of thing. And you'll see what that looks like. The thing about one thing about working with a terminal in Firefox is it doesn't automatically scroll, it seems. Okay, so it made this file. This should be the same look as what I did before because I haven't changed any of their parameters, but that's looking pretty good. That's also a lot easier to find because it's right there. Okay, so I'm going to work on this a bit more. I'm going to keep just changing the out.png with different effects added to it and see what differences things make. and go from there. You know what? This would be a lot easier if I had these both as tabs in Firefox. So I am going to just put this in Firefox as well, so I can see these. Okay, so let's try some other changes. A is a good one. That's the angle, and so that's the 0 is going to be horizontal, 90 is going to be rotated this way, and then I guess 180 would be like flipped left and right, but the other way, and then 270 would be the up and down one. So anyway, I'm not sure if I'm getting that right, but we can try it. So in this case, the flag is A, as he tells us, and then there down here, and then you give it a number of degrees that you want it to move in, like around the 360 circle. So let's try 90. That should be vertical look. Let's see how that looks. Nice, yeah, so it's kind of dripping down. This is kind of like, this looks a lot like the waterfall image when it went that way. Great, let's try a different number. Let's try kind of at an angle. Let's try 200. This may take a bit more time. Let's see, oh yeah, so it's nice kind of like swooping down. Well, am I getting the angle? No, this way. Is swooping down in this direction. I kind of like that. Or maybe you could think of it as exploding up in that direction. But yeah, that kind of matches the line of the landscape a little bit. Or if we reversed it, it would do that a little bit more. I don't know. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. It's still, though, pretty subtle. I wonder if we can change any of the parameters to make it a more dramatic effect. So there are actually 3 sets of parameters you can add. So we've dealt with the angle here. Let's do, and the output file. Let's try to change the interval function. So this is going to be the way that it figures out how to create chunks of pixels to sort. And there are 6 options for the interval function. So let's try a couple of these. I'm going to keep it on angle 90, and then I'm going to add the interval function -i. Let's try. I've tried this before. I don't really like the waves or the file versions. I'm just going to, I think edges and threshold are the ones that I've used and that I kind of like. So let's go with edges. Now, because I've given it the edges interval function, I can give it these other parameters as well, the t and the u, to say how sharply should it define those edges. And it's a number between 0 and 1. For each of these. So it starts off with 0.25 on the lower threshold and 0.8 on the upper threshold. So that's just in terms of brightness. So let's just keep it with the default for this first one and see how that looks. So this is back to 90 degrees, so it should be a vertical kind of something, and then it's going to be with that default upper and lower threshold. In fact, I think this will look, oh, okay. I mean, that's yeah, it just kind of made the trees sort of fuzzy. The cloud has the most difference going on in there. That's okay. I'm not really digging that. Let's see what difference it makes if we change those upper and lower thresholds, though. So in this case, it's, what was it? So, you know what? I'm going to change this. What happens if we change it to threshold instead of edges? Did I spell that right? I hope so. I'm not sure what edges and threshold are in terms of their differences. Let's find out. Done. Oh, okay, that's much better. I think I like it when stuff happens to the land and not the sky. I think having one or the other change is good, but I think there's more dramatic things happening in the land. This is actually going back to just the original, so this might actually be the default looking thing. So let's try to change the upper and lower threshold values here. So it was U for lower, or yeah, no, U for upper, T for lower. So let's do, for the lower one, let's do, the default is 0.25, so let's try 0.1. And then for the upper, let's try, the default was 0.8, so let's try 0.9. See if that makes a difference. That might be a little subtle, but we'll find out. Okay, let's see if it changes. Oh, wow, that is not subtle. That's pretty neat. That changed quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe too much, but it would be possible. You know, one way you can do these things is you can actually just edit these images. You don't have to let the software do it. You can edit this manually in GIMP. One way you could make this change, preserve that separation between the land and the sky would be to actually just make 2 images and use the lasso tool in GIMP or Photoshop to make a layer of just this clouds images, and then glitch the trees like this, and then put them on top of each other so you get a real sharp contrast between the two. That would be pretty cool. I don't have time to do that right now, but that's kind of the effect. Okay, let's do a couple more of these. So you've got the interval function. You also have the sorting function. That's going to say, like, once you've got a chunk, once you've defined it, and what we mean by chunk is these stripes that you see here. Once you've got one of those defined by whatever threshold parameters, how do you sort that? Like, how do you rearrange those? So we've got different properties of pixels that you can address, and it's not always clear what the difference is how that's going to apply to an image. So I think, like anything else, it's trial and error. I'm going to make these thresholds back to the default because they were kind of like, that's kind of a lot. And then I'm going to try to change the sorting function, and then that'll be it for this video. So how do you do this? So the sorting function is -s, and then you tell it which function to use. So -s, and let's just try a couple of these. Let's just try hue first and see how that looks. So remember, these should be shorter intervals than what, I'm pointing in the wrong directions. It should be shorter images than what you see here currently, and I mean shorter intervals, but they should be sorted differently than they were last time. Okay. I don't see any effect at all. There might be something going on in here. Well, that was a very subtle effect, and really not. I don't like that. Let's try lightness. So I don't know if the difference is. I don't know if the problem is that the threshold combined with the different sorting functions, those maybe they don't work. Maybe one is canceling the other out. I'm not sure. Let's find out if we try it with lightness. Let's see. Okay, so that's something. That's about back to where we were before. Let's see what else we got. So we got lightness, hues. Let's try saturation. I feel like that's not going to do much either. Yeah, that's back to similar to hue, so it's not really that effective. Intensity, I don't know. I think intensity is going to be the same. These are all different properties of color that you can identify about a pixel in an image. So, okay, that one actually did change quite a bit. But very similar to, was it lightness that worked well? I guess that makes sense. I guess lightness and intensity are kind of similar. Okay, then let's try minimum. I don't really know what this one's going to do at all. I don't think I've ever tried this option. Well, spelling it correctly would probably help. Although this is interesting that you'll see that it actually runs without having the right parameter. I just noticed that when it reports out what it's doing, it doesn't actually say if it uses the sorting. It doesn't say what sorting method it's using. So it does, however, it lists the interval function and the threshold. Okay, we'll see what happened there. All right, that's kind of different. I mean, it's kind of similar, but more finely grained, I guess, especially over in kind of this. Go over here, kind of in this region. That seemed to make the most difference over there. So, I don't know, some interesting stuff. Again, like with other things, I think it works well to combine different techniques, and you can even do different parts of the same image with different pixel sorting parameters added in there. But just to kind of revisit the basic workflow, I'm using this. It is a Python script, but I'm not really using Python. I'm just using the script, passing different parameters to it, following the directions that are listed here. But understanding these directions means understanding how to work inside of your terminal environment, which I think is coming with Jupyter in this case, and I think will work very similarly if you're using this in your Anaconda environment purely, or in your notebooks.azure.com hosted Jupyter Notebook environment. But I haven't tested those. I will do that before too long, I guess. And then if there is some difference, then I'll make a video with a correction or explanation on that as well. So that's pixel sorting. It's fun, it's different, and it makes some neat images. Thanks for watching, and have fun with it. Happy glitching.